President Putin says he wants painstaking discussions first, prompting accusations he's playing for time. President Zelensky, who backs an interim ceasefire, said Russia's recent attacks on Ukraine were definitely not the behavior of those who want the war to end as soon as possible.
Recapping the top story, President Cyril Ramaphosa has conceded that government erred by not ensuring universal early childhood development at the dawn of democracy. Ramaphosa speaking at the start of the Banna Village Early Childhood Development Leadership Summit in Johannesburg this morning. I am Wandile Mbana for SAFM News Headlines at 1:30.
It's always, hey, choose my kettle. It's this or that, Baba. But why? Why can't I service my car and pay for my wedding service as well? With a Nedbank personal loan, that's a rhetorical question because I can do both with access of up to 400,000 Rand at the best interest rate that is customized for me.
Don't let cash flow hold you back. Apply for your Nedbank personal loan online today. See money differently. Nedbank. We're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
On the 1st of July 2022, the President of the Republic of South Africa signed the National Forest Amendment Act 2022, Act number 1 of 2022, the Amendment Act into law. The President has now proclaimed the Amendment Act and determined its commencement date as the 4th of December 2024. The Minister has also published amendment regulations which seeks to give effect to certain sections of the Amendment Act. A copy of the proclamation notice and the amendment regulations can be accessed on the following websites: www.dffe.gov.za/legislation/gazetted notices or www.gpwonline.gov.za. Any communication or media inquiries in connection with the publication can be directed to Mr. Peter Mbelengwa, Chief Director of Communication and Advocacy. The telephone number is 012-399-8842 or the cell phone number 082-611-8197 or email pmbelengwa@dffe.gov.za.
South African Library Week is here from the 17th until the 22nd of March 2025, celebrating 24 years of libraries driving literacy, education, and community growth with the theme Libraries for Sustainable Communities. The week will be officially launched and was officially launched on the 14th of March at Zanani Community Hall in Makado, Limpopo. And you can join the celebrations at your public, academic, school, special libraries, and of course all of these are found across the country. Follow LISA's website and social media pages for all the updates. Brought to you by LISA, the Library Information Association of South Africa, appreciating our partner sponsors and Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, EBSCO, Makado Municipality, Ndende Technologies, and the National Library of South Africa, Sebanet and UKS. Hashtag SALW 2025, hashtag We Are Sustainable.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 106.1 FM in Durban North.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Singafuna swano nibathenga icelo polo ngathole nzondo kambo majali kole kama kambo ya minana ngongo kambo to jali comme en Afrique ya wewe mama ya miso etangela
Kipange kima se wa Rwanda iwatoka la Angola Kamo Senegal
Cool your anger, tolerate each other. Please see, because together, united, we can stand. So
ma belle
say boom boom bang
It is Papa Wemba coming through with Jabu Kanyile there, as well as Yusuf Ndor. Incredible collaboration. Why So is the name of the song, and obviously reflecting on many dynamics that were relevant at the time. And I think still some of those themes, in fact, for today, can still be found of relevance, and having been released back in 1998. It's gone 10 past 1 o'clock on the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga. I hope that you had an incredible weekend, feeling a little bit rejuvenated and ready to kick off the week that lies ahead. Lots of eventful unfoldings there taking place, especially from a geopolitical perspective, and those conversations will be continued later on in the day. For now, though, we cast our eye on Human Rights Month, and we know that we're observing Human Rights Month. Human Rights Day is coming up in just a matter of days. And we thought we'd catch up with the CEO of Freedom Park, as well as the chairperson of Public Service Commission, and just have a conversation around the role that's played by spaces such as Freedom Park, which is calling for youth-led change in advancing human rights. And then, of course, it's Monday. We bring you some opportunities there, and today is no different. We're going to be talking around this collaboration between Microsoft and the Youth Employment Service, and they partner up to offer 50,000 certifications to South African youth. We're going to find out what that all entails. On the other side of two, we're catching up with education expert Dr. Linda Meyer. We're going to have a conversation around campus safety, a student's guide to understanding GBV risks at university. We've known that campuses are not excluded, of course, from feeling those sort of rippling effects of all the social dynamics that our societies and communities have to deal with. And there's some interesting interesting safety and security innovations that are coming out of some of the campuses. UCT comes to mind. I think we had a conversation with them last year, and they were doing some interesting things on their campus just to ensure safety of the most vulnerable students. But we'll catch up with Dr. Linda Meyer and see what the thinking is around that conversation. 086 000 2032 is the number that you can call us on, and 061 410 4107 is our WhatsApp line.
Bafana Bafana are taking on Lesotho at the new Pitamukaba Stadium on the 21st of March 2025 at 6 p.m. for the FIFA World Cup 2026 qualifier. Come early, dress to commemorate Human Rights Day and support Bafana Bafana for a chance to win prizes from our host, Limpopo Government and Polokwane Municipality. Gates open at 3 p.m. and tickets start from 70 Rand for adults with special rates available at 40 Rand for children under 12 at all Ticket Pro outlets. If you can't make it to Polokwane, catch the game live on S3 at 6 p.m. or visit sabcsport.com. For more details, visit safa.net and Bafana Bafana on X and TikTok.
Imagine living in a community free from gender-based violence and femicide. That reality is possible, but only if we commit to building families that are free from violence and are inclusive, where children are raised equally. Every child has the right to grow up in a loving, nurturing and safe environment that promotes good mental health. So do not forget about the boy child. He too needs to be protected from all exposures of violence. Pay attention to the boy child today and watch him grow to be a responsible man that society can be proud of. Stop gender-based violence and report any cases of child neglect and abuse at your nearest police station. Or call the Gender-Based Violence Command Center on 0800 428 428. A message brought to you by the GCIS.
Who will rise in the Hollywood Bets Pro Series, where the top 8 women's cricket teams face off against each other to lift the inaugural Hollywood Bets Pro 50 and Pro 20 trophies? Local pride is at stake with the log table taking shape. Waza nawe! Get down to a stadium near you and show your support. Visit cricket.co.za for more information. Entrance to Hollywood Bets Pro Series matches is free.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
We are catching up now with the CEO of Freedom Park, Dr. Jane Mufamadi, and Prof. Somadoda Fikeni, Chairperson of Public Services Commission, Political Science and Public Development, and of course, political analyst. And we know that we're celebrating Human Rights Day come the 21st of March, and Freedom Park is reflecting on the nation's journey to freedom and the role that young people continue to play in shaping a just and inclusive society. But the big question, I guess, is how does that look? And we've got Dr. Jane first. How are you doing this afternoon, Dr. Jane?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. And good afternoon to Professor Fikeni.
Thank you so much for the time. Let's perhaps start off by, when we say that young people continue to play a role in shaping a just and inclusive society. And the question becomes, well, how does that look, or how should that look?
I think the biggest challenge that young people face is that they did not live through apartheid. They do not really know about the struggle for liberation. For them, it sounds like these are abstract concepts. It sounds like it's a story. And sometimes the little that they know that has been reduced in textbook, it's not enough to give them a full picture. And through our various programs like storytelling, we try to immerse young people to this lived experience so that they can hear the voices, they can feel what it was like. And we do this to inspire them to continue to fight for human rights, to reflect and understand why we are where we are as a nation, and how then can they play an active role in shaping the future grounded in human rights for all.
And I think a sort of a valid point that gets raised, right, considering the differences of experience by the different generations, is how do you get young people to plug in to a history that is essentially now one or even two generations removed from them? And perhaps Professor Somadoda, you can chime in here for us.
Well, I think what we should do is to create space for an intergenerational conversation wherein we learn from young people the challenges they face today, which might be different from those of our times. And equally so, they learn some of the critical lessons of the previous generations. Once you have that mutually respectful dialogue, you will then be able to become a force for for social transformation. But once one generation says we know it all, and the others say no, we are experiencing it. Because at any given time, youth are the ones most exposed to some of these social ills, into some of the crime, the violent crime, GBV, pandemics, HIV, AIDS, and so forth. So the reason they tend to be more active is because they stand to benefit more from serious resolution of challenges that they face. At the same time, they are able to take risk and become a force of change, precisely because they do not have all these other things such as, I have a bond, I can't do this, I have so many kids, I can't do this. To them, they see the problem, they confront it, and want to change it. So to me, I would simply say each generation, as Frantz Fanon once said, must discover its mission, fulfill it, and or betray it. And when we say they should learn from the past, it should not be from a position of imposition. It should not be from a position of saying that was a better period than this one, but rather to say the generation of Fizz Must Fall faced a different kind of challenges. The generation of today, the generation of Steve Bigos when they were youthful in their 20s, Abo Pitya and Nengwe Kulu, faced different kinds of challenges. Similarly, the younger generation of the Mandelas, Sobukwes, Lembedes, and so forth, Tambo, faced different kinds of generations. It might as well be that today, human rights have different manifestations. The violation of human rights might even be in the space of deepfake and AI, whereas in Sharpeville, it was of a different kind.
And that actually is a solid point. You know, the consideration that perhaps today the challenges may be nuanced to every generation. There are some overarching themes, I guess, as broader South Africans, particularly South Africans of color, that sort of remain, right, and that carry on from generation to generation. You speak of each generation discovering their mission, fulfilling it, learning from it, and betraying it. You know, the learnings of Fanon. And I think a lot of folks would say that there's still very much some major connections from generation to generation in as far as South Africa is concerned when it comes to a broader mission, but there is nuances for every generation that has come thereafter that is specific to them. And how do we begin to then sort of connect that to, make that connection to say that as much as, you know, the generation of Fizz Must Fall has perhaps a slightly different day-to-day experience that dictate what their situation and their challenges are, but they still live within the context of South Africa's history, which still resonates even today, because it's not all entirely resolved. It's not all entirely behind us.
Certainly, apartheid geography is still with us. The legacy of the past is still with us. Whether you take our national statistics, you will see that, or any economic indicators, social indicators. The question is, how do we take this process forward? And how do we create space for the younger people who will live this reality going forward to make a meaningful input, even in the conceived national dialogue? How do we make sure that we also give them space to experience or to talk about things that they are experiencing? Because if not, we're driving them further deeper into the social media spaces, into TikTok, into content creation that has nothing to do with some of these debates that we're raising. And we're creating also an intergenerational mistrust and tension.
Dr. Jane, your thoughts?
Yes, I do agree with Prof. We were just having a dialogue last week, especially we were talking about the youth of 1976, and we were saying, if you reflect on the activism, these were young children actually, from primary school even. We were reflecting on what is it that we can learn from these generations to empower the current generations. The Face Not Fall movements gave us a snippet of the capacity and capability of these young people. But we need to start empowering them from the past. And in what we're also looking at, during the liberation struggle, there were street committees. The community was galvanized. They could communicate before social media was fashionable. And we're reflecting to say, how can young people of today take advantage of social media and access to information to relearn, to learn, and educate each other about where they come from and where they want to go? How do we channel their activities towards grounding themselves, informing themselves, also so that they know that they have an active role to play today, not tomorrow when they are older? Because the previous generation that ushered the freedom that we have today started at a younger age. And if they can, these are some of the lessons and the skills. And what Prof was talking about, this is what we try to do here at Freedom Park, the intergenerational dialogues. We have a program called Youth in Dialogue with the Elders, where we bring veterans to reflect, but we also bring young people to engage and interact. And after listening and learning, then they reflect on what do they think is their role today to ensure the rights are enshrined. Last weekend, we just had a storytelling festival where we brought young people to reflect through stories, through music, and we packaged this, and we will release this on the 21st during Human Rights Day, so that others can also be inspired by these young people who are immersed in their knowledge of their history, their heritage and culture, but reflecting on where young people need to go in the future.
Mm-hmm. As you listen to our conversation today, if you have some thoughts perhaps as to how one begins to engage young people on the past as well as the present in order for them to really rightfully take up their roles as advocates of all human rights. Perhaps it's something that you've discussed with the younger members of your family around, their social and political activism or consciousness or lack thereof. We'd love to hear your thoughts. 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line, and 086-000-2032 is the number that you can call us on. We're going to take a quick pause, and then we will come back on the other side and continue engaging this conversation, because human rights challenges are faced by South African youth today, and this is still something that's very much significant and persistent. And so we'll continue having the dialogue on the other side of the headlines with Ondela.
Are we ready for a real conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
News headlines on SAFM. President Cyril Ramaphosa has conceded that government erred by not ensuring universal early childhood development at the dawn of democracy. Ramaphosa speaking at the start of the Banabili Early Childhood Development Leadership Summit in Johannesburg this morning. The Water and Sanitation Department has released weevil insects to help eradicate the invasive alien water plant in the Hartbeespoort Dam water system. And an EU-led donor conference for Syria is taking place in Brussels today, the first since President Bashar al-Assad was overthrown in December. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
We are in conversation with Dr. Jane Mufamadi, CEO of Freedom Park, and of course, Prof. Somadota Fikeni, also joining us, Chairperson of Public Service Commission. And we are talking around Freedom Park's call for youth-led change in advancing human rights. And human rights are still very much a challenge that I think is faced not only by South African youth, but South Africans in general. But for the purposes of this conversation, obviously focusing on youth matters. And why are this still such a significance here, Dr. Jane? Why have we not shifted the needle in the right direction as it pertains to lessening the burden, perhaps, or the impact that's felt around a lack of human rights?
I think where we need to start off is creating awareness. You wonder how many, not just young people, how many of us know that we have more rights than we understand. Because sometimes we sit and accept things that are unacceptable. So we want to encourage young people to understand the rights enshrined in the Bill of Rights and create and assist their community so that they begin to act as advocates. They need to stand up and act as agents of change, as leaders within their communities, within their schools, and wherever they are. Firstly, familiarization and understanding and helping communities without sitting and waiting for somebody else to come and rescue them. They need to know that the young people of the past stood up to bring about a change. So they need to act as those agents of change. And these are some of the lessons and the dialogues and engagements that here at Freedom Park we try to encourage them to participate actively, even within various initiatives in government, in peace-building initiatives, in reconciliation initiatives, where sometimes you see young people are left out and it's just the older generation worried and focused about this. So we are making this call to say, this is your space. You need to begin to have a seat in the table. When there are issues of conflict, you need to be there as conflict mediators as well. When there are problems within communities, it may just be lack of water or electricity. You need to stand up and fight for those rights for your people and for yourself.
Prof, let's talk about, and you touched on social media, right, which is a powerful tool, but only powerful if it's used intentionally and in the right hands. And we've seen it, right? We've seen it. We've seen young people globally use social media as honestly a weapon directed at, directed at the current sort of leadership status quo. But how does one begin to tap into those resources? How do you begin to tap into technology, to tap into social media, to ensure that young people see it and use it in far greater numbers as a catalyst to invoke change and a catalyst for their own social activism?
Well, I do think that's why I was saying we need to look at the structural arrangement on how dialogue is structured. We need to learn from the moment because technology is here to stay. It's not going away. Therefore, we need to adjust to the ways and the highways that youth use for communication, but simply infuse a different content to those conversations and the content creation, rather than to say, we used to have a town hall meeting, therefore you must have a town hall meeting. That's why I'm saying this moment, for it to be more effective, we should be saying, let's sit around the proverbial fire so that we learn from the youth and the youth learn from us. And we say, what are the core principles? Even if the strategies, the platforms, the technologies used are different.
Dr. Jane, you mentioned some of the programs, for instance, like the intergenerational dialogue that you'll run at Freedom Park. And as much as we have these spaces, these spaces of remembrance and these spaces of convergence where conversation happens, but how do we begin to ensure that more South African youth, the masses, so to speak, are brought into these kinds of conversations? How do we make sure that we reach them when we truthfully know that the majority don't engage spaces like Freedom Park?
That is why, as Prof was saying, we can take advantage of access to social media. The majority of young people are there, but we are also aware that there, especially rural communities, not everyone has access to the internet as well, and therefore information may not filter through. Hence, I was making an example of the street committees in the past. Within the traditional communities and rural communities, they are more organized and more structured through Horo, through Lekgotla. These are some of the platforms that we need to filter through to reach out, but more especially within our curricula in schools, we need to begin to infuse these principles and values of human rights within our curriculum so that we can build these young people also from an educational perspective, because this becomes their lifelong lessons. But the spaces like Freedom Park simply reminds us of where we come from and paints up a picture of why things are like they are. Prof. Fikeni was talking about the structural arrangements, the landscape that has hardly changed 30 years into democracy. So we want the young people to understand, but simply so that they are inspired by those who come before them. The real work is within their communities, where the injustices, the inequalities, and the human rights violation happens. So as they learn about what other young people like Biko, when they started their activism in the youth, when they were still youth, they need to go out and be inspired to act practically within the communities to deal with the real challenges that are happening where they come from.
And just to round off the conversation, Prof, in light of everything that we just said, how do we then ensure that young people are not only engaged but also understand their role as torchbearers of change, right? Given the fact that we find ourselves in the last 2 months or so as a country having to be in defense mode and defend its sovereignty to geopolitical forces, but also internally a country now divided in a conversation. How do we then ensure that young people understand that they are the torchbearers of change and it is their responsibility to advance social change, equality, and of course human dignities for all?
That is where the importance of lessons of history come in. Because what we are facing now, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, tensions, threat, has happened before. Under apartheid, under colonialism, at different moments like Sharpeville, at different moments in the times of the mass democratic movement. What are the lessons of that time? The lessons are that whenever the country faced great difficulties, leaders should step forward and galvanize society towards a common cause, common purpose, and emphasize the benefits of standing together and define that purpose quite clearly as a vision. But once that vacuum exists, then you will have 17 different visions of the same country, because each one is defined in this small corner, and there is no leadership to rally people into one cause. That in itself, I think, is very much important. Look at the Freedom Charter when that situation was at its peak. When you had apartheid at its peak, and it was in ascendance. Then you had a situation where you were having young people, society in the Congress of the People mobilizing in order to have this one common cause. And when that occurred, it was sports bodies, it was cultural groups, it was everybody, youth formations, it was professionals. They produced something. They during the Black Consciousness Movement. They produced something. But once you start having a fragmented society, no rallying point towards common cause. During the mass democratic movement, again, you saw priests, you saw teachers, and leaders were there to define what is the problem, what are the actions, what are the sacrifices we need to take, and what is this future that you are drifting towards? What's the common vision?
Yeah.
The national dialogue ought to create a space precisely for that, for all role players, because right now we're pretty much fragmented on what our history was, what the reality is, and what the future is.
Yeah. Prof, we have to leave it there for this afternoon. Thank you so much for the time and the insights. That was Professor Somadot Fikeni and, of course, Dr. Jane Mufamadi. It's fast approaching 1:45. We're going to take a quick pause, and then we're going to come back on the other side, and we're bringing you an opportunity here, and it's a partnership between Microsoft and Youth Employment Service.
The price of milk may be going up, but with Outsurance, you could be saving on your car insurance premiums. Like Irfan, who saves 411 Rand a month on his 2012 Ford Figo 1.4.
For a while, I've been looking for ways to save money, and within 10 minutes, I was signed up with him. I'm saving 411 Rand a month. Outsurance helping me save money.
Switch and save today. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754.
With Outsurance, when you look at it, it sounds too good to be true, but it's good. It's true.
Have you heard about the legendary Out bonus? After 3 consecutive years of not claiming, you'll get 10% of your paid premiums back in cash. Isn't it time you got something out of your insurance? SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. With Outsurance, you always get something out. A licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Something big is coming. 6:30 will never be the same. Amalanga Wafani, only on SABC 1.
This Human Rights Month, SAFM is deepening a culture of social justice and human rights. It's a time to reflect, engage, and take action for a more just society. From thought-provoking discussions to powerful stories, SAFM is leading the conversations that move us. Because your voice matters, your rights matter, and together we shape a better future. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. You are listening to The Full Circle.
All right, let's have a quick catch up with the CEO of YES, that's the Youth Employment Service, Ravi Naidu. And they've partnered up in a bold new partnership between themselves and Microsoft South Africa. And it's set to create life-changing opportunities for young South Africans that are looking to break into the digital economy. How are you doing this afternoon, Ravi?
Oh, I'm doing very well, Bridget. Thank you.
Thank you
Hope
so
you're well
much.
too.
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for the time. Let's chat a little bit firstly before we get into this particular partnership. But just for context for our listeners that might not be familiar with the Youth Employment Service.
Yeah, thanks very much for that. So, the Youth Employment Service, or YES, is a public-private partnership. So it's run by business, and it's where companies can get a B incentive or a social impact reporting incentive when they hire young people. And the reason why the country set that up, the private sector and the government a number of years ago, is we know that as a country, we really have to get talented young people, particularly from disadvantaged backgrounds, to get their first private sector work experience, because then they go on with their careers and become very valuable to companies and to the economy. And many of them will go and set up businesses which grow and become employers themselves. So it's a pipeline to really get talented young people who otherwise wouldn't get a chance into the economy. Mm-hmm. And to date, we've done 178,000 youth have come to the program. That's 12 months full-time, working with companies, and most of them go on with their careers post being with the YES, and I think last year we had 40,000 people finish in that year, and 6,000 set up their own businesses. So it's quite an important pipeline, long term for the country.
Oh, wonderful. And let's talk about perhaps, when we have these conversations about creating opportunities for young people, oftentimes one of the questions from our listeners is, well, are we creating long-term sustainable jobs and career opportunities here? And it sounds like YES is focused on exactly that.
Yes, no, exactly that. Because the idea is not to, create something superfluous or where, the person goes back into unemployment and it was low quality. It's really around the quality of the partnerships. Are they working in a way that gives them the experience that post that 12 months, they understand more about the world of work, they've made social networks in the company, talented young people have met each other, and then where are they now? So when we do track where people are post-program, and in many cases what happens is companies use these 12 months because the companies are paying, right? It's not free. It's not paid by the taxpayer. The companies are paying themselves. So they use the 12 months actually to interview the interns, as it were. So by the time the 12 months are over, they're very convinced in a difficult economic environment, do they want to hire these young people? Have they got the right attributes? So we find, some companies keep 90% or higher of the people, from their program because they know them. And that's where we look also at partnering with companies and a whole range of other organizations to get youth into sectors and jobs that will, facing the future. So digital jobs, key jobs in tourism, the things we'll talk about now in terms of AI and all the rest, where we know the country needs people with that experience, and those skills.
Yeah. Segueing us nicely to this partnership with Microsoft. Clue us in about that.
Yeah, so Microsoft, as you know, so firstly, YES has 1,800 corporates that fund youth through YES. And that's why we are 99.9% funded by the private sector. One of the companies we've had for a couple of years has been Microsoft. And we did say to them, you do support youth, you do a good job. What we'd also love is for you to connect to us in different ways whereby your business model and the products you have can also be used to capacitate youth more broadly. And quite a few companies do this in different ways. And then Microsoft globally, so this is now Microsoft out of Seattle, the head office, they obviously are making a big investment in South Africa in terms of their data centers. I think they're putting about 20 billion rand so far into data centers in Africa and another 5 billion into the next phase. And part of that, they wanted to look at how they can build skills alongside that, because obviously you have to have skills plus infrastructure anyway.
Yeah.
And so they then upgraded the existing partnership with us to so that we would be able to, in this first year, certify up to 50,000 young South Africans in different high-level skills. So these will be proper Microsoft
certifications. You do the exam, the test, and you get the certification. And it's in things like AI. So there's a program called AI 900, which is like the leading global certification at the foundational level anyway for AI. Data science, another thing which is huge. Cybersecurity technician. Cloud solutions, everything is cloud, and there's cloud solution architecture. And there's two other courses, full stack development, which is looking at the front office, back office, and then as well as a more basic, let's say, Microsoft Foundationals program. That's 50,000 of these, and so those and a few other things as well, but in the first year. So we would be taking a lot of the youth from our coming program, as well as alumni, and obviously youth from other sort of ecosystem partners. And quite honestly, 50,000 is a lot of certifications for 1 year for Africa. Yeah.
Absolutely. When I saw the number, I thought, well, this is definitely a tall goal, and I'm pretty sure you're more than capable to meet it. 50,000 certifications. And these are all very necessary skills, right? Because I know when we talk to folks who sort of play in digital spaces, they list these as the primary careers of the future: AI engineering, data science, cybersecurity, cloud solutions, full stack development. Are you able to give us a little bit of a glimpse as well as to perhaps what the participants could expect, or in terms of just the structure of what the year might look like for them?
Yeah, so of course, you need AI and digital qualifications across the board. It doesn't matter if you're not in an IT sector job. If you're in the motor industry, in the financial sector, if you're in the retail sector, all of them are using, AI and drones and tech. So I think young people in South Africa across the board need to be as competent and confident in terms of using these technologies possible. So I think that's our interest. It's not IT specific youth that we're looking at. It'll be available to anyone, who we think can, pass those exams. We would add this on top of the work experience we give people, because you don't need to do this in 12 months. You just need to pass the exam. So you could study for this at home, after you do your work, or if you're not working, you can just do this as well. What we would do is we are finding the youth through our existing channels, but there will be a program that we'll launch where people can also apply to be considered for that, and then. And throughout the year, there'll be an opportunity to write the exams and pass them. And, we will also have a few sessions, let's say in a classroom environment, where we'll be partnering with some of the convention centers, where we'll have some of the top trainers there, and, you'll have a day or so to do your prep and brushing up before you write the exam, and probably about 5,000 people will do the in-classroom program. But it's something you can do while you are working or while you are studying, for sure.
Awesome. Ravi, we have to leave it there for this afternoon, but appreciate the time. That was Ravi Naidu, CEO of Yes. It's 2 o'clock. Just time to sneak in one quick conversation with the Good app before we head to the news.
This is a story of Vodacom's impact.
Having the psychosocial support team has benefited us a lot. You're now able to refer to a specialist. We can accredit that to Vodacom.
This is why we do it. We've deployed psychosocial professionals specializing in GBV and bullying across 30 schools of excellence and ECD centers, helping over 30,000 learners. That's why we're the #1 CSI contributor for 8 years running. See more at now.vodacom.coza. Further together, Vodacom.
For 90 minutes, neighbors will not get along. Bafana Hugo are hunting for 3 points. But Dikwena want to cause an upset. This is the FIFA World Cup 2026 African qualifier. Witness the human rights pitch rivalry between South Africa and Lesotho. On Friday, 21 March at 5:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4, S3 and SABC radio stations. Also available at your fingertips on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
What you're about to hear is not an email from Standard Bank. Good day, Dave. You haven't updated your details, so your account will soon be blocked. Please confirm your card number, bank PIN, card CVV number by clicking the link below. What? Don't fall for it. Standard Bank will never ask for your banking details in an email. Visit our help center on the banking app to learn more or call our fraud line on 0800 222 050. Another lesson to hashtag beat the scam. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
Shaheen Price joins me now, co-founder of the Good App, and we're going to have a quick 3-minute conversation around how Good App is planning to formalize South Africa's informal service sector. How are you doing this afternoon, Shaheen?
I'm very well, thank you yourself, Bridget. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you for the time. So 7.5 million participants present a significant economic potential, right? But these folks all work very much with having to face a lot of barriers to formalization. Talk to us about that.
Yes, definitely. You know, we currently live in our country has got many great aspects behind it, but we do find ourselves struggling with a few things, especially when it comes to the informal settlement and informal settlement in terms of trying to actually get them to formalize their own businesses. Sorry. So one of our biggest issues that we have is the regulatory complexities that the informal workers do not understand the steps to get their current businesses formalized. And this is also due to the fact that a lot of the government processes can be slow. And in addition to that, a lot of the financial institutions view informal entrepreneurs as a high risk due to lack of credit. So let's try to formalize and put all of this together. At Good App, we've created a platform that can speed this up for informal businesses. Good App itself is a platform that offers home services to homeowners that are looking for a variety of services such as electricians, plumbers, handymen, pool services, pool cleaning services. Even if you're looking to get your hair done at home, you could also find that in the platform. If you need a relaxing spa day at home, we provide that as well. So we've looked at the platform itself with a lot of the economic barriers that South Africa is facing and try to sort of bridge that gap, so that we can give a platform to the informal settlement guys, informal business sector guys, the opportunity to perform at a higher level.
What kind of tools have you incorporated into the app that address the issues that you've spoken about? Matters of government processes being slow and cumbersome, and of course all those regulatory complexities that any person actually finds themselves at times quite challenged to try and understand.
Yes, definitely. From our side, we built a platform that provides an end-to-end solution and service for both partner and customer. What that really means is every partner that joins the application can do so by registering with the app, with Good App, and then uploading all the required documents directly from step one. And then they go through quite a process in terms of getting onboarded. We do vet our partners very well, very stringent around criminal checks, credit checks, and all of that. We take that role on ourselves, so they don't need to go and get that done, via the MIE's companies or post and all that. We take that on ourselves. And then from that perspective, once we've gone through the MIE checks and stuff on our side, we then allow them to give them the opportunity to demonstrate the skill sets that they have pertaining to the services that they've signed up. Once we've qualified them on that, then they're open to operate. And that process really generally takes about 14 days, 14 working days. And then they can operate as an entity or as an individual on the platform and receive business opportunities from us. And I think what's the most important from our side is that as a partner at Good App, you're not competing necessarily to win business over or to win an appointment over. Once you get that notification on your side as a partner, that's a customer for you, done, dusted, sealed. The process, the end-to-end process from a customer perspective is that they get to book and schedule the time that they need to do, and then we've got an integrated payment service provider on the platform. So payment and everything goes through the platform.
Wonderful.
That's also helps the partners in the sense that they don't need to worry about pricing, they don't need to worry about when they're receiving their funds. All of those things are taken care of by us as a company.
Yeah. Shaheen, just most important as we wrap it up, unfortunately, for any sort of informal business that's not on the platform but is intrigued, how do they get in touch with your team to begin the process?
100%. So we do have our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram, but the quickest and easiest way to definitely get through to us is via our website, www.goodapp.co.za. And then from a partner perspective as well, you can download the partner application from your Play Store, and then just follow the prompt 2 steps to registration, and then we'll be able to get in contact with you straight after that.
Wonderful. That was co-founder of the Good App, Shaheen Price. www.goodapp.co.za is where you can go. Ondelambana is standing by.
Thank you, Bridget. Top stories: forensic investigation instituted in some cases and municipalities, and Ramaphosa laments on government shortfalls on ECD programs. For SAFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good day. Cooperative Governance MEC in KwaZulu-Natal, Thulasizwe Buthelezi, has instituted a forensic investigation against struggling municipalities. This is based on the findings in the Auditor General's second quarter review of the province's consolidated municipal performance report for the 2024-2025 financial year. It has revealed over 6 billion rand in unauthorized, irregular and wasteful expenditure across municipalities in the province. Buthelezi has authorized forensic investigations against the Msunduzi, KwaDukuza and Nongoma municipalities.
What this means is that you have 3.7 billion rand in unauthorized expenditure, which are funds that have been spent without proper approval by the municipal councils. We have 5.7 billion rand in irregular expenditure, which are transactions that violate established procurement processes.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has conceded that government erred by not ensuring universal early childhood development at the dawn of democracy. Ramaphosa was speaking at the start of the Banapili Early Childhood Development Leadership Summit in Johannesburg this morning. Statistics suggest that over 1.3 million children are not enrolled in any form of early childhood development program. The summit brings together government, business, civil society and education experts to craft a roadmap for universal access to quality ECD across the country. Ramaphosa says ECD programs should have started much earlier.
Minister, you were saying we need to admit where we've made mistakes, and I'm the first in government to admit that we made a mistake. We should have started with early childhood development. Universal early childhood development should have started 30 years ago.
The Water and Sanitation Department has released weevil insects to help eradicate the invasive alien water plant in the Hartbeespoort Dam water system. The insects were brought in from America as part of a collaboration between the National Research Foundation and Rhodes University. The insects will target Salvinia minima, an invasive alien water plant native to South America that presents a substantial threat to South Africa's freshwater ecosystem. Water and Sanitation Deputy Minister Sillo C. Itlolo.
You'll recall that in the Hartbees Dam in early January, there was plenty of fish that actually died here. And that is largely because of the inability of the water resource in itself to have oxygen, because what these alien invasive species do is that they do suck out the oxygen, which has obviously led to us having to come up with remediation processes which involve biological control.
The South African Weather Service has issued warnings for severe thunderstorms in several provinces, including Gauteng, Free State, Mpumalanga, Northern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal. Forecaster Letlohonolo Tobela says this could result in localized flooding.
For our warnings, a yellow level 2 warning for severe thunderstorms has been issued by the South African Weather Service. These storms will result in heavy downpours that could result in localized flooding, a possibility of strong and damaging winds, as well as excessive lightning and hail. If you'll be in Gauteng tomorrow, you can expect a partly cloudy day with afternoon isolated showers and thunder showers, but they will be scattered for the extreme southeastern parts of the province.
An EU-led donor conference for Syria is taking place in Brussels today, the first since President Bashar al-Assad was overthrown in December. The new Syrian authorities will be attending the annual event along with regional neighbors and other Arab countries. Western partners and UN agencies will also be represented. Moz Mustafa is a Syrian activist who works with the Syrian Emergency Task Force.
What happened in Latakia and on the coast was a horrific tragedy. But the Damascus government has started an independent commission to investigate what happened there. They restored order there. That's very important. And I think now the conference in Brussels is incredibly important because by helping Syria and helping the Syrian people heal, have transitional justice, rebuild, that's the only thing that's going to keep Syria from falling apart.
Recapping the top story, cooperative governance, MEC in KwaZulu-Natal, Thulasizwe Buthelezi, has instituted a forensic investigation against struggling municipalities. I am Mondelambana for SFM News Headlines at 2:30.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 104.6 FM in Kimberley.
Stangusen Negati are in a big search for their first win, while the indomitable Lions want to hold on to the summit of Group D. The bottom of the table clashes with the top. This is the FIFA World Cup 2026 African qualifier. Experience the joy of African football. Eswatini versus Cameroon. This Wednesday, 19 March at 6 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available at your fingertips on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Join us for the first ever Radio 2000 Annual Family Day in partnership with SABC2 on Saturday, 22 March at the Fat Olive, Pelindaba Road, Lanseria, Johannesburg. Enjoy go-karts, five-a-side soccer, pedal boats, and more. Explore the arts and crafts market and treat your taste buds at our food stalls. And a kids zone will keep the little ones entertained. Gates open at 10 a.m. and tickets start from just 100 Rand at ticketpro.co.za. Follow us on Radio 2000_ZA. Radio 2000. Our music, your memories. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
I just wanna feel good every day. I wanna wear a smile upon my face. I wanna feel the joys of the day. I wanna feel alive in every moment. Said I won't waste time on feeling blue. I won't waste time on things I cannot change. I'm gonna live this day as best as I can, doing everything that feels right, singing la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la. I wanna hear the laughter of a child.
Our former colleague there and highly respected broadcaster Aldrin St. Pierre continued our conversation on X that we were having with Prof. Somadoda and Dr. Jane. So if you go to our X handle or if you search my name at Bridget Masinga on X, you are bound to come across this interrogation, and he's interrogating what Prof. Somadoda was quoting, Fanon's quote, that each generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. And so there's an interesting discourse that is continuing there from the back of that conversation. Also, hello, Aldrin. Hope you're having a good day. As we get into a different conversation now, and we're talking campus security and campus safety, a student's guide to understanding GBV risks at university. Dr. Linda Mayer, who's an education specialist, is joining us for this conversation. And GBV continues to be a pressing issue in South Africa, particularly affecting university students. And there's a whole host of factors that comes into play here, from adjusting to a new environment and, of course, navigating social interactions. There's a lot the students are exposed to, and that leaves them at a greater risk. How are you doing this afternoon, Dr. Linda? You good?
I'm very good, Bridget. I hope the same is true for you.
Yes, thank you so much. Let's talk about, and we've sort of touched a little bit on this conversation in the past around, just the campus environment and the fact that it doesn't live in an isolated silo outside of the social challenges and burdens that South African communities face and find themselves in on a daily. That stuff is actually perhaps at times can be magnified even greatly in campuses because it's such a closed off environment where everything can be magnified and even at sometimes it almost seems like it's expanded.
Absolutely, Bridget, you're quite right. Universities are microcosms of our society, but they also are a place of congregation for young individuals, and we know that from statistics in South Africa that for GBV cases, obviously we know we have just over 50,000 cases reported every year, and Higher Health tells us that 10% of all GBV cases that are reported are from students that are in the tertiary higher education environment, so both from universities and TVET colleges. And the more difficult statistic for us to obviously work through is that Higher Health tells us, because they did an extensive study, that only 1 in 10 females that are subject to GBV instances on campuses actually report those cases. So, it's quite a significant number of our young people, and we understand that, this is obviously much more prevalent in the age range from 16 to 25 that are subject to these GBV matters on campus.
Disturbing, right? I mean, 10% of GBV reflecting that victims are students at that higher tertiary sort of level. But even more disturbing is that only 1 in 10 are reporting. What does this tell us? Perhaps about the environment within campuses, perhaps the sense of safety and security and the ability to come forward at a campus and say that you've been violated?
So first of all, for many of the students, they are young. Sometimes they come from environments, that might have been rural. They're not used to the city life, and they are then subjected to particular behaviors that they don't even understand is GBV. So, emotional, psychological abuse that happens on the campus setting. Rape, obviously, sexual assault is easy to identify, but sexual harassment and homophobic bullying, for example, those are things that are systemic in our society and has almost been normalized. So they don't actually realize that they are victims of this. And then obviously we have the compounding issue when students, for example, come onto our campuses, and over 70% of our students are NSFAS students, and they are financially dependent on that grant. And when grants are late, we can see from the studies that have been done that some of our students have to turn to being sex workers to get that work. So there's this other compounding issue. So yes, students are obviously exposed to all of this. They're young people. Alcohol is obviously always a problem. But also, the normalization of particular behaviors in our society that is still very prevalent in our society, but also very accentuated on campuses.
Yeah. I want us to just take a quick break here, Dr. Linda. We'll come back on the other side and continue the conversation, and perhaps we'll discuss some strategies in terms of reducing the risk of GBV and other forms of abuse on campuses. Let's take a quick pause here, and then we'll be right back.
Something big is coming. 6:30 will never be the same. Amalanga Wafani, only on SABC 1. For 90 minutes, neighbors will not get along. Bafana Hugo are hunting for 3 points. But Dikwena want to cause an upset. This is the FIFA World Cup 2026 African qualifier. Witness the human rights pitch rivalry between South Africa and Lesotho on Friday, 21 March at 5:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4, S3 and SABC radio stations. Also available at your fingertips on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
We are always happy to have Dr. Linda on the show to share some insights with us. And today we're talking around campus safety and security. And we're just unpacking some of the environmental factors, perhaps, that are at play within institutions of higher learning that speak to the 10% of GBV stats being accounted for by students, but only 1 in 10 of those being reported by female students. Dr. Linda, let's talk about maybe some of the strategies that could be implemented in these spaces in order to reduce the risk of gender-based violence. And does the conversation around minimizing risk, a lot of people will say, well, that conversation does not also negate the responsibility from a perpetrator, right?
Absolutely. So we can't turn the blame to the victim. We must make sure that when we have this narrative around being safe, that we don't turn it to victim blaming, and that the perpetrators remain accountable for their actions and the responsibility that lies with them.
And what kind of strategies should we be looking at, or should those at higher learning institutions like yourselves should be looking at in order to address perhaps the risk factors for GBV and other forms of sexual and psychological abuses on campus?
So very importantly, for all tertiary institutions, that we continue with the work of higher health to ensure that we have the advocacy and the training programs available, but also that students familiarize themselves with security measures, and also that they understand what the high-risk zones are. And they are these on campus as well as in the vicinity, the proximity of the particular campuses. And be very mindful when consuming alcohol, because this increases your vulnerability. Do not go off with strangers. I mean, some of these things are obviously common sense, but when we're young, we think we're invincible. But if you're leaving the campus with anyone, make sure that somebody knows where you're going, who you're going with, and that in the university setting, that you also understand how to report GBV incidences and that you seek help if anything happens. So make sure that you've got emergency contact numbers, understand on campus where the GBV reporting is, support services are available. Many of the campuses have self-defense programs that institutions offer, and very important that you understand how to portray your personal boundaries. Because when we're young, we obviously, when people are flirting, we're a lot more tolerant of these things. I always say when I turned 50, I just lost all tolerance for everything. But the point is being that understand what your comfort zone is. And the golden rule is if anyone is making you feel uncomfortable, that is a violation of your rights. And understand how to report that. Don't just let things slide, because perpetrators do that, right? They set you up. They groom you for particular action that is harmful. to you in the future. So make sure that you take care of yourself and that you speak to people if you feel threatened in any way.
Yeah. You said something at the beginning around understanding and knowing the higher risk zones on and off campus. What kind of zones would those be? And, how do campuses and campus security also intervene in spaces like that?
So obviously with campuses, what they do is they do speak to, environments that are not well lit, to security services on campuses, also to in and around the facilities that are available for students to go and, enjoy themselves, have parties off campus. They do have campus security that are engaged with that. They do have numbers which can be called to support them. But obviously, just to make sure that students understand that what the services are and the protection services are. So for every student, you should have campus protection security number on your phone. You should be able to, many of the universities provide, a button, an emergency button that you can press on your phone to ask for immediate help. Understand those services because each campus is obviously different, and understand how you can report these matters, but also how these areas that are highlighted, often they're highlighted in newsletters, etc., that we need to be mindful. And it happens that students are murdered in their accommodation, that the sexual violence happens on and off campus. So we really need to be proactive around our own security, but also in the environments that we create, to understand what the support services and counselling services are available to protect us when we feel threatened.
Dr. Linda, you also highlight that a lot of students lack the awareness of the available support systems, and that this actually means that they might even not know where or how to report GBV-related incidents.
Absolutely, and that is a fact. So students often, have difficulty even understanding that they are victims, and they don't understand that every campus is a place where security and safety is monitored at all times, but also that there are support services. So make sure that from the onset when you get on campus, that you understand where security services officers are, that you understand from the student support services where the GBV support officers are. If something happens to you, where the emergency contact numbers are, and that you are then able to equip yourself within this environment to ensure that you protect yourself, but also that you know where designated safe zones are, because we have those on all of the campuses, that you can get there if there is difficulty or if you need to protect yourself against any sort of action that is being taken against you. And universities have practical examples, so don't just take any transport. Use the university transport that is freely available. Don't just get into somebody's vehicle. So there are practical steps that you can take to ensure that you minimize the risk to yourself and to the people that you obviously are studying with. Young groups of girls particularly need to be very mindful, and the advice is always, please do not go out on your own, and specifically, don't go out with people where people do not know where you are, because we've had cases of abduction, we've had cases, reported in the media, not only of femicide, but also where students have, been robbed, been stabbed, etc., on campus. And we must be mindful to these pragmatic realities that our students face on campus.
When it comes to the university and, just institutions really, and their responsibility and resources that they provide for their communities on campus, what do those look like, and what should institutions have in place to respond to any of these scenarios? GBV, cases of intimidation, cases of just feeling perhaps even just unsafe as a student walking at night. What should universities really be focusing on just to make campus life a little bit more safer for everybody?
The universities absolutely need to take practical steps. So it's around the lighting that is available, visible security that is obviously on campus all the time, that there are active campaigns to educate the students, because there are GBV response units on most university campuses. So also there are health services that are available, psychological support, and also legal services. If it is found that a student has been attacked, or there's any legal sort of process where the SAPS is involved, there are psychological and social support services, psychosocial support services available to the student, but there are also legal services that will support the student to ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book. So really a wide range of services that are available, and it is important that every student understands that we need to prepare for unintended eventualities. So it doesn't mean it's going to happen to you, but always think about the worst case scenario and make sure that you are well equipped, well geared and prepared if something tragic may happen to you or to somebody that you're studying with.
Yeah. Dr. Linda, as always, we appreciate your time. That was Dr. Linda Meyer walking us through some of those safety and security considerations. If you are a student on campus, I hope that you've yielded her advice just around some of the practical safeguards that you could be conscious of for your own safety and the safety of other fellow students on campus as well. It's 2:30. We're going to take the headline news and then we're going to come back on the other side with our children's programming, and then the conversation continues, and we're looking at gamification as the future of business engagement when we come back.
Thank you, Bridget. In the news headlines, President Cyril Ramaphosa has conceded that government erred by not ensuring universal early childhood development at the dawn of democracy. Cooperative Governance Embassy in KwaZulu-Natal, Thulasizwe Buthelezi, has instituted a forensic investigation against struggling municipalities. And social grant recipients have been warned that the yellow SASSA cards will stop functioning after the March 20th deadline. Beneficiaries have until Thursday this week to swap their yellow SASSA cards with the new black Post Bank cards. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Are we ready for a real conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hello everyone, my name is Ashley Kawamba. Yes, I would help someone knowing that I wouldn't get anything in return. Most cases, people would ask if I could lend them or help them with certain things. I usually help them without the expectation of them giving me something in return. It usually made me feel like a helpful person, which made me feel good about myself. Ways we could help in our community without getting anything back could be by volunteering in local charities, park or street cleanups, or donating goods. I believe that if the world never expected things back from other people, it would be a much happier and peaceful place.
Hello guys, it's me, your boy King David, and I'm 11 years old. Yes, I would help someone knowing that I won't get anything in return. And yes, I can think of a time I've helped somebody that is related to me, knowing that I didn't get anything in return. It made me feel very sad, but as long as I did the right thing, I got that confidence that boosted me up. Ways that I can help people in my community without getting anything back is by helping my food local pantry, and I can give blood if I'm available or I'm able to. And I can volunteer my time, like picking up papers and removing the trash, and never leaving children unsupervised in parked cars, and checking on neighbors and family members, especially those who live alone, are elderly, have health or mobility issues, or are caring for children. The way I think the world will change if people help other people without expecting any reward is, many who appear to help others expecting nothing in return understand and believe that God has promised to set aside rewards for them in heaven. That's why people always, have that encouragement, that boost to help people, knowing that God has something in touch for them. Thank you all. May God bless you.
Hello there. My name is Bridget. I'm 14 years old and I go to Macaulay House School. Yes, I would help someone knowing very well that I wouldn't get anything in return. A time when I helped someone was in class when they didn't understand the work. It made me very happy to see that she soon understood the work after I'd explained. I was very fine without receiving anything in return. And the best thing is that my classmates soon understood the work. We can help people in our community by offering to help them plant something or taking plastic bags into their homes if they have a lot after shopping. The world would be such a perfect place filled with love and care instead of war and hate if everyone helped each other instead of hurting each other. Thank you.
Good day. My name is Renee Angel Nangorena. Yes, I would help someone knowing that I won't get anything in return. And I do think of a time when I helped someone without expecting anything in return, and it made me feel very positive about helping others more and also encouraging others to help people without getting anything in return. What are some ways that we can help people in our community without getting anything back? Is either if your neighbor does not have anything to eat, you can actually give them some of your food. And if they don't have money to buy something, then you can also help out a little bit by giving them maybe 10 rand or wherever you can help them. I think the world would be a very positive and a very peaceful and great place if everybody helped others without expecting a reward, as well as supporting each other as a whole global universe would be a very good thing in this world. Thank you and have a lovely day, and let us learn to help people without expecting anything in return.
Good day, everyone. My name is Yolanda Mzobe. I am 11 years old. Yes, I would help someone knowing that I won't get anything in return. I can think of a time when I helped my friend with homeworks, classworks, all activities. It made me feel good because I knew what I did was being soft and being kind. What are some ways that we can do to help people in our communities by helping them, giving food to those in need? I think the world would be different if everyone helped others without expecting a reward, by causing conflicts sometimes, because there are some people who want something back to show that you appreciate what you did for them, and some people just don't care. They just have a great heart. They don't want anything by return. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, my name is Danica Wood. Yes, I do believe in helping the next person. I have helped my friends and my family. I felt very good about myself after helping them. Helping people is very important because it's good to do good deeds for other people. Thank you.
Greetings to you all. My name is Lorraine Moyo, and I hope you are all having the most wonderful day today. Yes, I do believe in helping other people because when you help other people, you're actually being kind to them and loving and showing and demonstrating your kindness and your respect and your help for others who are in help. Once I've helped a girl named Mpo to find her lost phone at school during a school concert. She lost her phone in class because I know that the teacher said that you can bring your phone. So she left her phone in class and she ended up not finding it there and looking for it everywhere. And then now she asked for help and I said that I could help her. We looked everywhere in the classroom, but when we went to the teacher said that she found it on the table, and now she was just keeping it for her because she was afraid that her phone was going to get stolen by someone, obviously. It made her feel very happy and made me super proud of myself. I had the feeling that I'm a big girl now and that I should actually start helping other people. The reason why it's important to help people is it increases your self-confidence. You know, sometimes you're so scared to help other people and you're just quiet, but if you help other people, it actually helps your confidence and you will have the most wonderful time talking to people, greeting them and making them feel welcome in to you and helping them whatever they need help with. Thank you. Goodbye.
Hello friends and happy Monday. Today let's talk about helping others without expecting anything in return. Would you help someone even if you knew you wouldn't get anything back? Kindness is a gift that doesn't need a reward. Think about a time when you helped someone. Maybe you shared your lunch, helped a friend with homework, or made someone smile when they were feeling sad. How did that make you feel? Helping others can make our hearts feel full because we know we're making the world a better place. There are so many ways we can help people in our community, like picking up litter to make our neighborhoods clean, donating clothes and toys to those who need them, or simply being a good friend to someone who feels lonely. Imagine if everyone in the world helped each other without expecting anything in return. The world would be kinder, happier, and more loving. So let's try to do something nice for someone today, just because we care. That's all for today, friends. Keep spreading kindness and we'll chat again soon. Bye for now.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives. These are the weekend shows on SAFM. Music of Africa with Shayla Ndikumana. The Jet Set Breakfast with Michelle Constant. Seasons with Khomoto KG Mweketsi. The Soundtrack of Your Life with Ernest Pillay. Weekend Sound Downer Classics with Kutlwano Masote. Spotlight with Zai Khan. The Weekend with John Kherika. Rhythm of Africa with Shayla Ndikumana. This is SAFM. Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
All right, in our final stretch of the show, we're going to be looking at gamification as the future of business engagement, right? We're still trying to get a grip to some degree with all these new technologically powered, innovative spaces of opportunity. Thabo Tsulo is joining us, CEO and game designer at Space Salad Studios. How are you doing this afternoon?
Good afternoon, Bridget and your listeners. I'm doing well, and you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Okay, but before we get into gamification, right, and just how that relates to the business landscape, let's get some background maybe on Space Salad Studios. Firstly, I'm just intrigued by that name, Space Salad Studios.
Yeah, a lot of people are, but so we are a multi-award-winning gaming studio that specializes in gamification. And what separates us from our competitors is we make games based off social commentaries using humor as the glue that brings everything together and makes the content more digestible.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been making games since 2019.
Okay. Let's talk about gamification, right? We know that there's sort of just the nature of business today is very competitive. And those who make decisions within business spaces, they're always looking for more innovative ways of keeping customers engaged. Whilst at the same time, also one needs to remember employee productivity, for instance. How do you sort of enhance that? And also, how do you drive revenue, right? Three very critical components of a business. How does gaming speak to those three?
So I guess we all know that competition drives innovation, right? And what's better than competition is it being fun. and enjoyable. And how do you create an environment that's safe, where people can compete for the same cause, have fun together while still learning, and just having the time of their lives. And that's what gamification does. Gamification, for those of you who don't know, is the application of game-like elements like point scoring, competition, and other rules of play in other activities such as marketing, education, finance. So you can basically apply gamification everywhere. And I mentioned that competition is what drives innovation. So if you as a company want to engage with more customers, you want to have more reach, you want to have a more effective way of getting your employees to complete their tasks in a fun way, where they also feel like they're having fun, they're not working. I think gamification is what is for you.
Are we seeing a lot more organizations and companies sort of probably open themselves up to incorporating gamification elements?
Definitely. I think mostly in the West, but we're seeing more and more companies in South Africa coming to the party, which is really interesting to see.
Yeah. And in what ways? So you talk about, as you sort of induct us into this, right? And you speak about gamification being some elements that one can leverage on. And sort of in what ways are you seeing, what trends are you seeing where South African companies are latching on to particular elements, and how are they helping or working towards boosting, whether we're talking employee productivity or whether even just driving revenue for said companies or for said sector?
So one of them is like tangible. I don't want to like advertise the companies, but one of them is like tangible incentive drives. Tangible incentives. So what would happen is a marketing campaign will have a high score system where players that reach or maybe they get 1,000 points will get 20% off of the brand that's being advertised in the game. Another one is having a product woven into the game, for example. So your brand is constantly visible within the game, and the player could play it for hours and hours on end, because with gaming, I think it's the closest competitor to social media market. What social media and its static posts lack, gaming has in a large quantity because of its amount of time that players spend playing games. Another one is social amplification. So we've seen companies use this social amplification as a tool to drive more shares, more word of mouth spread of the game, basically making their product trend by creating incentives for players to share the product or the game with other players or their friends, so that they increase their chances of winning the prize, winning the competition, or the rewards attached to the game. So these are some of the things that have been used in business for the implication of gamification to increase revenue, to increase engagement, and to just have a kick-ass brand.
Yeah. So clearly I'm not much of the target market for gamification, or perhaps it manifests in different ways in different sectors and products as well, right? Because as you sort of describing this experience to me, I'm thinking, well, none of the brands that I engage with sort of engage in that perspective from that angle. But I read in what you've written that one of the best known examples, and they really don't need our advertising, one of the best known examples is one of the biggest medical and health providers in the country, and they've adopted elements of what would be classified as gaming to their business model. In fact, it's a very big part of their business model, if I'm not mistaken, sort of tracking healthier behaviors and encouraging healthier behaviors in exchange for particular rewards.
100%, Bridget. And the thing is with gamification, it's not an age thing or anything, because we all play games. And the nice thing about gamification, a lot of people think about it as like playing video games, but it's more of like the elements, so the reward system. Everyone wants a reward, like if, for example, at home, you have an incentive, like whoever washes dishes tonight will pick their favorite movie. That's an example of gamification in its like simplest sense. You can get everyone engaged. Even if I didn't want to watch dishes, but I know I want to watch the latest, Spider-Man movie, I'll make sure that I watch all the dishes. And that's what this company that you speak of has done. It's gotten people healthier and more conscious about their health by providing them with rewards, that they can benefit from taking care of themselves and training and eating healthy, those kinds of things. So it's not I don't know if it's safe to say it's a one-size-fits-all thing, but surely it's really close, because you can attach gamification to any industry just by incentivizing people to do better, to set targets for them, and there's rewards after that. That's why gamification is so successful.
I think probably, Thabo, and correct me if I'm wrong, probably the sort of missed opportunity in how we understand gamification, because when we were talking earlier and you were sharing with us, right, my mind was not connecting it, for instance, to these types of programs like the one run by this big healthcare provider. My mind was not thinking about it like that, because I was thinking about it from the perspective of having to jump on my phone, be on an actual game, or have some kind of game elements, versus being on an app and having an app that is designed to track my lifestyle, that is responsive to my needs, and ultimately encourages me to have an engaged lived experience in order to be able to access particular perks and particular rewards. And maybe the missed opportunity there is how we understand gaming, those of us who are not in the space. So how we understand gamification if we're not in the space of it, right? In order to see more companies take it on board. How do we begin to help lame people like myself and others really, really understand what it can do and what it can evolve into, and how broadly it can be defined so that it fits the needs of particular organizations?
Well, you can definitely reach out to me and my team at Space Salads. We are more than happy to educate people about the potential and the prospects of gamification. And we always try to break it down to the simplest of its form, because we understand that in South Africa it's still in its infancy stage, not just gamification, but the gaming industry as a whole. Because we started out as creating our own games, like independent games from scratch, and we realized we saw the gap in the market and the opportunity of how many people can benefit from gamification. So I think, long story short, if you want to know more about gamification, reach out to us at Space Salad Studios. You can find us at Space Salad Studios, Space Salad ZA on all social media platforms. And we'll be happy to even give you a free consultation if it's something that you're interested in trying out.
Is this something that can be executed at a minimal budget? Because not everybody is a sort of big JSE listed corporation that has infinite resources. Are you able to implement gamification with a very limited budget, limited resources, but still get maximum benefit for your business needs?
Yes, and that's something that we pride ourselves in. We, again, because it's a niche industry, still in its infancy stage, a lot of the service providers are international. What we're leveraging on is, because we're a small team that is agile, and we can give you a lot more bang for your buck, right? Yeah, so we are, I don't think a cost is that extreme. You can reach out to us in our consultation, and we'll be able to share our costings with you. Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit as well about whether or not this replaces traditional marketing, or even not traditional marketing, but digital marketing, or does the success of amplifying gamification in your business also depend on how much marketing you put behind the awareness of that this actually exists for either your employees or your consumers?
I believe that this is an extension of digital marketing. I don't think one can live without the other, because just as much as the game might be super addictive and fun, you still need to promote it in some degree. So yeah, this is just an extension of the digital marketing space, yes, this one has more advantages in terms of your engagement and how many people you can retain using your marketing tool. But I think the two cannot exist without each other.
All right. Very interesting indeed. Well, listen, we appreciate your time this afternoon and your insights as well. Who knows, perhaps one or two of our listeners have been pondering incorporating gamification elements into their business strategies and models moving forward. And hopefully they got a little bit more enlightenment from this particular conversation. I must admit, there's some themes and topics that speak to technological innovations and advancements that I can easily grasp, understand, and even see the visual in my head. And then there's some others that I think I'm just like most South Africans, where I'm left a little bit going, okay, how does that work for me? But this is why we continue to have these conversations. Thabo Tsulu, thank you so much. That was CEO and game designer at Space Salad Solutions. The running joke from last week's broadcast when we were at the Technology and Innovation, the inaugural Technology and Innovation Summit, is that the Minister Blade Nzimande, he dared me specifically to start cementing myself in the arenas of technology and innovation. And I see a lot of you took it very seriously on X, because then you started tweeting me about doing exactly that. I'm not too sure if I'm ready to be, the TED Talk on science and innovation person as yet, but we'll see how that goes. We've got about 5 minutes left to the top of the show. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, I feel we could probably say goodbye to you at this point in time and get ready for Ashraf Gada, who's coming through between 3 and 6. Pretty sure he's going to be unpacking all the latest developments that came out of the political arena this past weekend. And top of the agenda is likely to be the expulsion of the South African ambassador to the U.S., who's on his way back home. He was on his way back home yesterday, already given 72 hours to vacate the premises and depart the United States, considered a persona non grata at the moment. And then there's been some calls from the conversation on social media. If you've been tracking it, there's been some calls from fellow South Africans saying, well, perhaps South Africa should retaliate, and South Africa should also, decide to close the American embassy or reject the proposed soon-to-be, the frontliner. We don't know if he's going to soon-to-be the American ambassador to South Africa, but the front-running name at the moment seems to be causing some contention. It's a conversation that will continue to be held. I see the president said that we must just all stay calm and the situation is under control. So he's leading with a cool head when it comes to those geopolitical trade tensions that are happening between us and the U.S. at the moment. We'll see how everything unfolds. From my side, thank you so much for being in conversation with us. Let's hope to have a better day tomorrow. Inshallah, God willing, we'll get to do it again.
Whether it is a CCMA referral, problems with a mechanic, or unfair blacklisting, Clientele legal plans are affordable, and you receive up to 670,000 rands worth of legal services per year. We cover civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Our legal team will be your support 24 hours a day. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and a licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Join us for the first ever Radio 2000 Annual Family Day in partnership with SABC2 on Saturday, 22 March at the Fat